RPG 그대로의 RPG 불멸의 전사 2.
Welcome everybody to another day of SPL. In fact, the final day of round number 2. I am Valdez. With me today is GTR. How are you doing, man?
I'm doing pretty well. Had a few fun days in the past with the Children's Week long weekend that we had here in Korea. And as you said, this is the final day of round 2, and a lot of playoff spots are on the line here.
Yeah, for sure. MVP, they need to win themselves if they want to have a chance to get into this one. I do believe we do have the Wolf actually tweeted. You should just go ahead and go to his Twitter at ProxyWolf. He tweeted something about, what exactly has to happen for certain teams to make it into the playoffs, because it does matter all the way down to the last day.
Yeah, I have it up on here. So basically, too long didn't read Wolf's tweet. If KT win and MVP win, KT and MVP qualify. If KT win and MVP lose, KT and CJ qualify. So MVP have to win their game against Afreeca here. If KT lose and MVP win, there's 4 teams that are tied on 3-3, and there are so many scenarios for that I won't go into it right now. But the final scenario, of course, will be if KT lose and MVP lose, KT and Samsung qualify. So yeah, there's a lot of maths and stuff behind the situation we have.
And taking a look at these teams, Afreeca sitting at 0-5. They have not won a single match for round number 2 after qualifying for the playoffs in round number 1. So MVP is looking primed here to take a win against an Afreeca team that's doing a lot worse.
Yes, they did recruit Symbol onto their team, but he is not eligible till round 3. And the question I want to ask is, where's Alive? Alive was wrecking base at the start of Legacy Void, and he just completely disappeared. And yeah, like, as you can see there, 0-5 for Afreeca. It's not pretty at all.
Yep, and as you guys can see, we've got our hand mics back. We've gone back to the Stone Age. It's okay. We'll get these headsets back eventually. Seems like there's just some problems. Well. Yeah, we got some new chairs. Those look a lot better too. But here are the standings so far for round number 2. Jin Air Green Wings have secured their first place spot. And the Afreeca Freaks have done so down there at the bottom as well for the last place spot.
Yeah, so basically KT, if they win by any margin at all, whether it be 3-0 or 3-2, they will leap over SK Telecom T1 and grab that 2nd seed. And as we mentioned before, the last 2 spots, they're being fought between Samsung, MVP, and CJ. It's a bit of a kerfuffle that we have right now, as you see.
It's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
It's pretty crazy.
And we see here the winners rankings. Maru on top. He's been a beast so far in Pro League, especially without those individual league priorities that he has to take care of. He doesn't have to do that. He's 11-0.
That's just insane. I mean, the last time we had someone do that, I think, was like
TY.
He was 7-0, 8-0, like 2 years ago.
And then before that was probably Flash in the Brood War era. And before that was Go Rush, who's old Zerg player for SK Telecom. And here we see the match. Our first match, actually, between Afreeca and MVP Chikamaru. Our first game will be Curious against DeParture. Second game will be Super against Jumiho. Third game will be Patience against Young. And if needed, our 4th game will be Bomber against Forte, which is a rematch of that crazy game from last round.
Yeah, Bomber holds Forte's all in with flying colors and then takes about 15 minutes to eventually kill Forte on the back of a bunch of failed attacks on Laralac Crest. So we'll see if we do get to that game. I think there's a pretty high chance, just looking at the way the lineups do line up tonight.
But I highly doubt it will be Bomber against Forte on Laralac Crest again. Especially MVP. They've had some sort of like mini revival coming into this round. Plays like Ryung, plays like Gumiho. They've picked up their pace and have started winning games at MVP, which is like, they never had that last round.
Yeah, it's pretty cool to see. There are some events down here, guys. If you do come down, just to mention this, as we are starting it off, you can drop your name into some kind of bucket, and you can win those photo cards.
Yep, signed photo cards. And also, we do have our SNSs, Facebook Pro League.se2 on Facebook, of course, and Twitter. There is Kesper and Kesper EN, which is the official Kesper English Twitter. So give those a follow. And also, if you're watching at home, if you like the games, if you want to talk about the games, use the hashtag SPL.
Yeah, definitely go ahead and do that. Kespa EN tweets not only about Starcraft, they tweet about anything that Kespa is involved in, so the recent Counter-Strike tournament that happened over here, the League of Legends stuff as well. So if you're interested in that kind of stuff too, you can definitely go ahead and follow that.
And by the way, we do have the offline qualifiers on Thursday for the SSL. I believe they won't be casted, but I think a really interesting anecdote to talk about is that Chaser will be playing in the SSL qualifiers.
Wait, what? Really?
Yeah. So basically, he lost a bet on the variety show that they do, and the result of that bet is that Chaser has to play in the qualifiers because he is Masters, so he is eligible.
I remember he tweeted like last year. He's like, I finally made it to Diamond. You know, I finally got there, and that's not easy, right? I think it's like 20% of the population get there. So now he's Master, and we'll see how he does.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. I would laugh if it was like playing someone like Maru first game or something like that.
I kind of want to see that actually and see how badly he gets wrecked, or if he actually took a game off of Maru, that would be a lot of fun too. I think you and Wolf are going to be going to both qualifiers because GSL 1 is on Wednesday,
yes,
right?
I will be at the GSL qualifiers during the afternoon, but then I have to go and do some errands after that. But I will be at the SSL qualifiers for most of the day, and I'll be helping. We won't have an official broadcast as far as I know, but we will be helping give you coverage on Twitter and also on Periscope, and maybe we might have a Twitch stream. We might be doing coverage with that. We'll just have to wait and see how it goes, but it should be fun.
Definitely go ahead and follow at GTR1H and at ProxyWolf. They'll be covering both of those in many different ways. You mentioned Twitter, definitely Twitter, obviously.
Yeah.
Possibly Periscope, you know.
Yeah,
that's
possibly
a new thing
also,
that's popping up.
The Team Liquid live report thread if we can post in that. But because Twitter's so easy to use, we'll probably just send most of our stuff on Twitter, and then hopefully we can get video coverage, because if we have video coverage, it just makes everything so much more better.
Video is the best thing, for sure. And Periscope is getting pretty popular, so that's kind of cool. Twitter's like the, it's the best source for getting any kind of information really quickly. You know, all the updates, essentially, it's like an update feed of like what people are thinking, what they're saying about esports, You can follow all the top players and, all the personalities, and they all tweet their thoughts about certain stuff that happens. I like Twitter a lot, actually.
Yeah, I mean, there's no reason not to use Twitter, so...
Yeah. It's kind of a funny conversation we've got ourselves into as we're waiting for, it looks like, the MVP player to get into the lobby.
So we're just waiting on DeParture to join the game, and how did you enjoy your last 4 days? I mean, we had the long weekend.
Yeah. Been fun. I've been playing some of that Overwatch open beta. Oh, hey, guys. Thanks for coming down to the studio. We got a lot of
I think I saw them yesterday. I think they were on their honeymoon or something like that. Yeah, here we go. I got married, so good honeymoon here. That's awesome, actually. And they're from Australia as well, so...
Also, hi to Ben and JT.
Yeah, hi, Ben and JT.
And I think that's a koala on a tree with a heart balloon or something like that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think Moonglade would love that. Yeah, I think Kesper gave him cake from Paris Baguette and wine to celebrate their honeymoon, which is really sweet.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Sometimes random gifts happen down here. I saw some of the fangirls actually getting stuff ready for some pro gamer had his anniversary or his debut. Yeah, something like that. So lots of gifts are given that way during like playoffs and finals. Sometimes Blizzard or Kespa themselves will come down, SPO. They'll get pizza for the entire audience, stuff like that.
I mean, at the GSL at the Afreeca studio, they do give when the CEO is there, Mr. Kevin. Yeah, that guy's a boss. Like, he always gets us burgers.
Pretty cool guy. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So we're still waiting on DeParture to join the game here. As we'll talk about the matchup. I mean, MVP have to win to qualify, correct? So a lot is hinging on this game, and. The slump of Afreeca Freaks is quite a weird story because we haven't seen him live at all this round, it feels like.
Yeah, he just fell off the map.
We haven't even seen him at the studio, so maybe he has some health problems or...
I hope so, man.
I'm not sure.
I hope so. I hope that's what it is because, we've had issues like this before in the past, and I don't know. He was doing better at the beginning, right at the beginning of the new expansion, and then he just slowly, like after that game against TY, that was like his peak, and then it was like, and then he slowly fell down.
He got
lost a bunch of
oblivion,
games,
maybe,
and then he I don't know, maybe he just lost his confidence, and he just feels like he has to practice. That happens a lot too, where players are like, our team isn't doing good, I'm not going to play anyway, I'd just rather stay at home and practice. So I hope that's what's going on there. Other players like Bomber, he was doing much better in round 1. I think he got like 3 wins actually, and people were like, hey, Bomber's back. It seems that way. And then he lost like 2 or 3 games in round 2, and all the people who predicted him to win also lost a bunch of percent.
The thing with Bomber is that he's so inconsistent. Like, he beats players like Dark, for example, if you remember that game with Dust Towers where he just did the parade push with his Marine Marauders. And
like the 2-2 timing.
Exactly. He wins games against players like Dark, but he loses to games to really, no offense to these like bad players as well. So there's a lot of inconsistency with him.
Yeah, for sure. And we're seeing that happen, going from round one to round
they're the Renegade guys. They're still here in Australia. So hung out with them last night. Really cool guys, especially Sponge.
Especially Sponge. Shout out to Sponge.
Yeah, shout out to Sponge.
Which one is Sponge?
Sponge is the one on the bottom left.
Okay.
The one with the deal with their glasses. But we hung out with them last night. Really cool guys.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, they didn't take first place in the tournament, but they still get the seed to the major qualifier in Cologne in the next couple of weeks or so. So
that's pretty good. Congrats to them. And looks like we're getting DeParture in the lobby now as the music has restarted here. See DeParture is pending there, and there he is in the booth, waiting to go up against Curious to start the night for a ZVZ.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of crazy ZVZs on Overgrowth because of the way that the bases are laid out. And actually, if you remember, one of the more memorable games, Zerg vs. Zerg, on that map was Zoo vs. Rogue with the cam ceremony.
Oh, wait, what?
When he looked at the
When
camera?
he stared at the camera? Yeah, that was hilarious, man. That's probably my second favorite celebration after the Keen one.
I think my favorite celebration, at least in Pro League, was when Stork was with the Stormtrooper. Remember that?
Yeah. That was pretty cool, too.
Yeah,
we had a lot of cool celebrations in the past, actually, in like 2014, 2015 Pro League. Like, we had an Action dress up as a dinosaur or something and slay the dinosaur,
Wasn't that also the year that Parting did the ruler ceremony when he shot the ruler and Flash? That was pretty good. But cool. It looks like DeParture's actually left the lobby, so there's probably something wrong with his computer or he's got some technical difficulties. We're not too sure yet, but we're going to go to a 5-minute break. Yeah, he has to switch PC. 5-minute break, guys. We'll be back after then.
Welcome back, everybody. Sorry for the delays. We're still waiting on game number 1 here of the last day of round number 2, which decides a lot. There's a lot on the line for every team here.
Yeah.
And we're going to get to see it played out. Looks like perhaps we're ready to get into these games.
Well, both players aren't in the lobby right now, so maybe they might be creating a new lobby. I'm not too sure, but... okay, so there's like 1 million people in DeParture's group, so that's be something really wrong happening right now.
When you see the Kespa referee badge in the background, you're like, something's going on.
So we'll still have to figure out whether it's something with DeParture or whether it was actually the PC. They did swap out the PCs.
That's an MVP seat.
Yeah, like all of the Kespa teams have DX Racer seats branded for them, which is pretty cool, actually.
How have I never noticed that before?
Well, yeah.
When did that start? I'm like,
I don't know.
Do you know when that started? Because I've never noticed that.
You can actually buy one of those the Kespa branded seats, I guess, with the logo embroidered onto it.
Okay, today I learned. Maybe I'll have to get myself one of those.
Yeah, these are really comfortable seats, actually.
Yeah, like it. They're better than the last ones we had. We had these little short mesh ones that weren't the best, but.
Yeah, so we're still waiting on them to figure out the technical difficulties. If Jay could keep us posted on that, we'd appreciate it. But yeah, so
taking a look at DeParture, he's still working on it. Still don't know what the problem is, guys. Sorry, we're not going to have an update until someone else tells us. Unless I could read his mind, that would be awesome. Maybe I could get some information.
You just like run down to the booth and then just knock on. It's like, hey, can you tell us what's happening?
It's like the crazy foreigner. We're trying to fix the computer.
Yeah. So our first game will be Curious against DeParture, and I think the best game out of this lot will be Patience against Ryong, because Ryong's been playing a lot for MVP. This is my opinion. You look very unsure about that. But Ryong has played a lot of TVPs, and he's lost most of them. But he played against SOS and Zest, so it doesn't really count for anything. I think
he did beat Hero.
Yeah,
that's
he did beat Hero.
And
that's why I voted for Ryong in that case, because he did beat Hero in that game.
Yeah.
And
I think most of us voted for Young. I didn't vote for Young. I actually went with Patience, which I feel like was my risky pick of the night. You always got these risky picks. So
if tonight's to do the risky picks, it is tonight.
Yeah.
So you can vault over. I think Wolf's in the lead right now.
Wolf's in the lead right now.
63.6%. And then after that is you and Daehyun that are tied up And then following that is myself, then Chaster, then Tasteless. Tasteless isn't actually last today. It's Kanata. But I remember last week, Kanata made a lot of crazy
Kanata is just going all over the place.
Yeah.
We talk about this a lot where it's like, if you get a prediction right that nobody else gets right, then you're going to boost ahead of a lot of other people, obviously, just the way the percentages would work. But he's like picking the wrong person for every match, and he's gone down to what now? 55%, whereas Wolf in the lead is at 63.6.
But like this round was brutal in terms of predictions. Do you remember upset week? That wrecked everyone's percentage. Even in our group chat that we have for predictions, the producer was like, "Man, you guys sucked this week."
Yeah, it's because everybody was losing, right? Yeah. Just all these good players were just like, "No, I'm not going to show up today." Like Hero and Biel lost a bunch of times to random people from MVP
and
or something
Dark
like that.
Lost to Bomber. I think that was that week as well. So. It's fun to do these predictions.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all fun and games in the end, but
I hope I can boost ahead of Wolf. I'm only one prediction right behind him. I'm at 48 of 77. He's at 49 of 77. Yeah. So
well, it'll be hard for like. Oh no, I'm only 3 behind. So, but I think we have similar predictions. So maybe you're the same. So we'll just I'll cross my fingers that I get the ones that eating that.
For sure. The other matchup that I was looking at actually for this, while we have more time here, is Super versus Gumiho. I feel like Super, he took that. This was also part of Upset Week, by the way, where Super beat Innovation.
Oh, yeah.
On, what was the map? Orbital Shipyard, where he did this cool build. I forget exactly what it was. I think it was just very aggressive, and he held the bottom of the ramp, then he just followed it up. And he took out an Innovation that way. But, like, Gumiho is also doing really, really well as well.
There's no doubt that Gumiho is the MVP for MVP now.
Yeah.
Taking that role, I guess, from DeParture, I guess. Because DeParture was doing quite well in round 1, but he's kind of dropped off the map a bit. He seems like alive, like Bjorn, those players who've... they were kings of Legacy before everyone else got used to the game. Yeah.
Yeah. Gumiho's, like, basically the only one who's doing... really well, like decently consistently. Ryung's kind of there. He's like winning one here, losing one there. Had a decent streak at the beginning of round 2.
I think the problem for MVP is that they don't really have a Protoss player to rely on. They only have Blaze and Seed, and they're not really
they're not Protoss players that you're going to rely on, right?
I think that's a glaring weakness that they have in their lineup. But when you think about the free agent players that are out there here in Korea, it's not really much. Well, the ones that want to play in Pro League, it's not really much to choose from. So.
Who's at the picked up symbol? Was it MVP?
No,
or
Afreeca.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that should help them.
Yeah,
I mean, Afreeca's also got some holes in their lineup, obviously, nowadays.
And, both players aren't in the game at the moment, so...
Still waiting. Let me take another look. Yeah, we got all the referees still in the booth. Looks like they're trying something out. Last time we had something like this happen, I think was Hero, where he was like...
no, didn't create... when we were casting, you mean? Oh, they're downloading drivers now. Thank you, Jay. So we have to wait on DeParture to download the drivers. But we're in Korea, so it's not going to take 5 minutes to download the drivers. So, But, sorry, go on.
Well, that one time that Hero, he thought his 1 key wasn't working, so they replaced his keyboard and it still didn't work. And then they replaced his computer and it still didn't work. And he's like, oh, yeah, I just didn't bind it. Sorry. And we just like took 15, 20 minutes off of the live TV broadcast because he forgot to bind the 1 key.
Actually, last week, Creator had a problem with his mouse, and ironically, it was against Hero as well, and they had to replace his mouse or something like that. That was delayed as well, but as Uncle Tasteless would say, technology is the vehicle of esports.
Yeah, that's the way it goes, right? So we got to ride this bus of esports, and sometimes we lose a wheel here and there, and we got to fix it. So that's what we're waiting for.
I think the Korean cast is actually talking about how Chase is playing in the SSL qualifier. I'm like so curious to watch those games.
He's gonna get wrecked, man. Yeah. He's gonna get so wrecked. You can't just be like, I'm a Masters player, even if you are in Korea. It's like, I'm a Masters KR player. I can go down to the qualifiers and beat people.
Actually, I'm very curious of how well Scarlet and No Regret will do. No Regrets placing quite well in KRGM. Scarlet, we all know how good she is of a player, and I think she's that talented that she can easily, with the way that the qualifiers work now, I think she has a good shot.
Yeah, I think she's definitely got a shot. Sometimes these qualifiers, they can come down to luck. Obviously, you have to be ready on that one day, like ready to put on your best performance. But let's say in the first round you get SOS or you get Maru or one of these guys. It's
because
like,
you have to win.
What are you going to do?
You have to win in the first round to make it to the double elimination stage. So finally win to the game. Both players.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
DeParture's putting on the headset. And
Curious is pointing at us, telling us that he wants the game to start. As we see here, both players' records not too impressive here in 2016, and the Pentagon's looking quite funky for both players. Actually, no, Curious's Pentagon is very, very
symmetrical.
Yeah, symmetrical, equilateral.
Looked like it looked that way. I think the right side was a little bit out, but let's take a look at these predictions. As we said before, Wolf is up top. Kanada's, he's so far behind, he's like, I hope DeParture upsets here. We're going to go right into the game, guys. Game number 1, Curious versus DeParture. Up here in the top right, in the purple, one of our Zerg players from the Afreeca Freaks. It is Curious.
And spawning here in the light blue for the team MVP Chicken Maru, it is DeParture.
Was it you last week who called them the chicken team?
Team Chicken? What? No,
Team Chicken.
I remember doing
Someone said they were like the chicken team or something. I can understand making that mistake.
But by the way,
seeing as their sponsor is Chicken Maru.
By the way, I dig the new polos that Afreeca have on right now for the summer.
Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah.
I've been rolling up my sleeves every time I cast. You decided not to today.
Well,
it's all right.
It's been pretty warm so far in Korea for the past couple of weeks, but today seems like I can keep my sleeves down weather at the moment.
Yeah, it's a little bit cloudy.
It's personal preference, honestly. Let's talk about the game. Both players doing the same build order here, getting that hatch first. And we're not going to see any early Banelings or Speedling shenanigans from both players.
Yeah, very mirrored builds here. Always talk about this map, Overgrowth. It used to be one of these maps where everybody would just essentially play standard, and every once in a while you would get like a Stargate proxy below someone's main or something like that, but it used to just be a map where it really just highlighted standard play, and especially based on the way it's pretty easy to get these 3 bases up for either player here, so I kind of understand why that is the way it was.
And even with Legacy of the Void coming out, and this was a Heart of the Swarm map that was used in previous seasons here at the SPL, we haven't really seen much of a deviation in terms of strategies that are being played on this map. It's just pretty much the stock standard strategies that we've seen so far in Legacy of the Void. Nothing too crazy to adapt to the Legacy map, I guess, that we have here in Overgrowth.
Well, take a look here. We do have an earlier third base for our player Curious. It looks like DeParture does not have any plans of doing that anytime soon. No drone heading over there, so Curious going to go for the greedier build, try to get up these 3 hatcheries, and if he can get away with that and not really take too much damage, like if DeParture just plays safe on these 2 bases, Curious could get very far ahead here.
Yeah, this is a very similar situation to what we saw from Sue versus Rogue on this map. Rogue going for that early 3rd hatchery, and Sue didn't really punish it at all. And once that queen gets up at that 3rd hatchery and you get those injects out, it just makes things a lot easier when you have those 3 hatcheries just giving you extra lava to work with.
Yeah, the larva, very, very key. We do have the first 4 lings coming out here for DeParture, and they should be able to scout this. We do have an Overlord heading that direction right now, and he is making that Baneling nest. But Curious doing the same, and is going to be a little bit later. But DeParture back at home just making drones, so he may just see this a little bit too late. He's going to take his own 3rd base later.
Yeah, he finally sees that 3rd hatch, but the damage has been done already. It's not going to be able to do too much damage to that 3rd base with these 4 Zerglings, as his Baneling nest is slightly earlier than Curious's, but I'm not sure if he'll be able to capitalize on the fact and do damage to Curious here, as Curious is going to get that lava up.
Well, let's see what he wants to do. He is making a huge swell of lings right now, and he is morphing 3 Banelings, 4 Banelings now on the left side. It looks like he wants to put some aggression onto that left side base of Curious. Curious right now is making his own lings. It looks like he has identified this with some of his overlords out on the map.
Yeah, he doesn't know about the Banelings, though, on the left side of the map. Actually, no, the Zergling's actually going to move there, and it's actually going to catch the Banelings off guard. Oh! Nice hit, though, from the Baneling. That could have been a lot worse there for Curious.
Yeah, for sure. He does find these two Banelings very, very nice, but more and more Lings coming over to this third base, going to immediately surround that Queen. And the Banelings very nicely just zoning out the Lings of Curious.
Yeah, I'm not really sure why DeParture is trying to chase his army here. Okay, he's going to go for the drones here. He's not going to try and kill that third base, but these Banelings need to get hits on those Zerglings. I'm not sure why they were going for the drones there.
Yeah, just getting 4 drones right now, and now coming into the main, but this will be cleaned up by Curious. Not really finding the damage that DeParture wanted, I have to say.
Yeah, and DeParture's just sending Zerglings to follow up with this. He's not going to think of droning up at all, and there's not really much damage that's been done by DeParture so far. If we look at the units, drones killed tab, rather, only 5 drones, and with the amount of Zerglings that DeParture dedicated to our attack, I don't think it was really worth it.
Yeah. Well, look at this. We got more Banelings going for a drop, and at the same time, Curious is attacking this third base. He's going to just distract DeParture right now.
Yeah, if Curious is multitasking. Oh, a nice hit there from the Baneling of Curious onto those Zerglings. That would help out. Another hit as well. And I think this Baneling drop should do damage, but there's a couple of Banelings here trying to do damage to these drones. 7 drones killed, and this game is crazy.
Yeah, that's actually a really, really nice hit. I feel like Curious has to get some damage done with his drop now to try to catch up here. DeParture getting a nice bit of damage now onto a decent number of drones. It is 26 to 24. Here come the Banelings into the main, but the Queen is there. He's got to move it to block, but he doesn't.
At all, but the Zerglings do come out in time, and they manage to block that little hole, but 7 drones have been killed, but look at this. DeParture's going to counterattack here at Curious's third base.
That is a lot of Lings, and he gets this around there. Here comes the Banelings of Curious. More Banelings going into the natural at the same time. There's barely any drones over here, though, so he's going to waste these Banelings to get 1 drone.
Well, look at the worker count here. 27 drones for Curious compared to the 19 of DeParture, so he's behind there economic-wise, but DeParture's just relentless with his attacks. Not good connections there from Curious with the Banelings. And
he needs better Baneling hits. 1 Baneling for both players, and the one of Curious does get surrounded, and look at this, there's not enough Lings here for Curious.
He nearly sandwiched that army there from Curious, but these Banelings are out for Curious here. There's like so much action happening here right now.
He's going to snipe that 1 Baneling of DeParture. That is huge. The Lings of DeParture now going into that third base.
These Banelings are going to get hits on... Oh, no, the Banelings trade.
Really nice trade there. Really, really good.
Yep.
Now here he comes into the natural, and he's almost overwhelming Curious at this point. Curious, though, does have the better economy. If he can hold on here somehow, some way, more Lings are popping out, but he needs Banelings to deal with this.
I mean, look at the army counts with the Zerglings. 44 Zerglings for DeParture compared to the 14 of Curious. I think Curious just got really greedy trying to drone up during the lull in action, and DeParture's punishing Curious here right now.
Yeah, and now he's coming into the main, and there's just no defense. This is where he's really going to find that damage. He's even winning the fight here in the natural. Finally, Curious pulls these drones, but taking a look at the supplies, Curious is now way far behind.
There's no Queens for Curious to inject those hatcheries, and with the sheer amount of Zerglings that DeParture has, there's no defender's advantage is not going to work for Curious here. I think DeParture has this game.
Yeah, looks like a 50 supply to 18, and Afreeca's woes continue. GG. As DeParture pulls off the upset. Only Kanata voting for him, but he was correct.
Yeah, nice play there from DeParture. Even though he was slightly phased by that Baneling drop from Curious, it didn't seem that the Baneling drop did the critical damage that he needed to get DeParture back on his feet. And I think the shining moment of that game that allowed DeParture to win was when Curious decided to drone up rather than continue to build Zerglings. And once he lost those Queens, it was just really bad for Curious, and DeParture took advantage of that.
For sure. So DeParture playing a bit more of a scrappy game there, deciding he knew how to play it a little bit better. And I mean, this is huge for MVP. They needed this win against Curious, because now they got Gumiho up next. They got Young after that. These are 2 great Terrans that can definitely get them this 3-0 win. And even Forte after that is not bad. You know, they're in a great place after DeParture wins this, and they need the win to get into the playoffs.
Yeah, it felt like that Curious was the best chance of Afreeca winning in this series between the 2 teams. And with him losing, it's, as you said, it's going to look very hard for Afreeca to get back into this game. As you mentioned, the next game will be Super against Gumiho. It will be on Orbital Shipyard, and Super, known I guess as a PvT sniper, seems to be a specialist, especially on Orbital Shipyard, but Gumiho, man, he's been wrecking it in round 2.
And when Super came out against Innovation, and it had been a while, he hadn't really shown much. But Gumiho, I'm sure he's looking at that game and he's like, Oh, I know what you're going to do. Gumiho is a very, very smart player, and he's great with his multitasking. He's great at stopping those kinds of builds. He's going to scout. He's going to be prepared. And I'm definitely favoring him for this matchup specifically.
I also voted for Gumiho as well. I just think his form is just way superior to what Supers is right now. So, but I wouldn't be surprised